Sport is superstition, science, family, drama, love, theatre. It's everything. And that's why we've made a betting brand for sports fans. Download the Betr app today. That's better. What are you really gambling with?
We're very happy to welcome back our very own two-time NBA All-Star Carlos Boozer. Carlos, it is fantastic to see you, my friend.
Great to see you guys, man. How you doing?
We're good. Let's have a quick recap of the playoffs so far. Are the Lakers the team that have come good at the right time, in your opinion?
Oh, they're playing great basketball. I mean, Anthony Davis has awoken. He's playing terrific as a paint dominant player, scoring points in the paint, getting to the free throw line, doing a great job defensively, blocking shots, and rebounding at a really high clip as well. He's kind of giving LeBron taking some pressure off LeBron to have to be the great player that he is every night. And that's kind of why they brought AD there when they traded their picks to bring him from New Orleans, was so that AD could be the number one option and it could easily fade Bron into being, a secondary guy, even though LeBron's still been fantastic in the playoffs as well.
James, I think the Lakers have been the pleasant surprise so far in the playoffs. Unfortunately, you get the other end of the scale. Who's been the biggest disappointment?
I want to say the Knicks in those first bunch of games in their series. That's been horrible. There's the Knicks, that inability to win on the road has probably been the biggest disappointment for me. I'm just this is one of the best road teams we saw this season. And they just went completely MIA at the worst possible time. And if I can throw a player out there as well, Jack.
Go on.
How about Jordan Poole? You go and get a 4-year, $120 million contract, and then suddenly you can't hit a shot when the team needs you. The reigning champs, they need you, Jordan. Where are you? What's happened? Biggest disappointment for me by far.
I think that's pretty hard to argue with. Carlos, while we've got you, you live this experience, you've played playoffs, you understand what it takes. Do you have a memory of your own? What are some of your favourite playoff memories?
Oh, my goodness. I've been in Jordan Poole's shoes before. I think that game one shot that he took, I think it may still be playing some mental games with him. That's why a lot of these guys are so talented physically. In my opinion, the game is so mental. It's between the ears. The more mental tough you are, the more you can achieve. And I remember my first playoff experience ever. We played the Houston Rockets. First two games are in Houston, so we're the lower seed. My first game was horrible. I was 5 for 25 or something. I had a horrible game. And I had 11 points. I feel like I let my team down, didn't play my best basketball, whatever. I had a couple conversations with Coach K, talked to Charles Barkley, talked to Karl Malone. Those are two of my mentors. And then they basically just said, look, man, you're going to have games like that. The defense is geared up to stop you. Just be aggressive. I came out the next game and I had 41. So I think a lot of it comes down to, look, your team is here. You guys obviously deserve to be in the playoffs. In Jordan Poole's case, okay, you missed game one, the game winner for game one, but your team needs you. You think about the last game, they lost by 3 points, and he scored 0. So if he would have gave them just a little bit, you think they would have won that game, and then we'd be looking at a 2-2 game instead of a 3-1 series right now. But that being said, I feel like the mental toughness that it takes to be a champion is something that's undervalued and under-talked about.
Nice one. Well, in terms of you've been to 2 conference finals in your career, what actually sort of makes a successful playoff team? What's the makeup? Is it having those young guns, those superstars, the veterans? What's the mix, do you think?
James, I think it's the balance of having both. You got to have a couple young studs that are unafraid, maybe even unaware of how big the moment might be. They're just great players. I met in Chicago, we had Derrick Rose, who was the youngest MVP ever in league history. He was so dynamic. It was almost like there was nothing he couldn't do. Mixed with veteran guys like myself and Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, and a few others. I felt like that was a great mix. And then obviously he got hurt years to come after that. And then when I was in Utah, we had a young stud in Darren Wing. We were all kind of young at that time. I think I was 25. Darren was 22, and we were young and hungry and determined. But I think in today's game, you got to have a good mixture of young talent that has the enthusiasm, the hunger that haven't been there yet, and mixed with some older guys that can kind of navigate through some of the highs and lows. Jordan Poole is in a perfect situation. He's a younger guy, supremely talented, playing with 4-time champions Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, and obviously Steve Kerr, who's been there as a player and a coach. It's the perfect mix for a guy like Jordan Poole to tap into some of his veterans to give him some more confidence, because they need him to get a game and move it to Game 6.
Nicely done, Carlos. Fascinating insight as always. Next up, we take a look at the Celtics and the 76ers.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Chances are you're about to lose.